Hi, I'm Jared the Subway Guy, and this is my story.
I could see you a young, 6th, 7th grader, this.
Welcome to the world of Subway, a fast food company different than other fast food giants. It's renowned for healthy options, fresh ingredients, and great quality. Unlike other fast food giants like Popeyes or Chipotle, each bite of a Subway sandwich takes your taste buds on a wild roller coaster ride of blandness and mediocrity. And instead of having a clown as its mascot like McDonald's, it had a lolcow. And instead of having a king as its mascot like Burger King, it had a legend. And that lolcow legend is known as the Subway spokesman, Jared Fogle. By the way, given all the content we're going to go over in this video, and while we're on the subject of fast food mascots, I'm personally concerned about the safety of Wendy in the presence of Fogle. Keep Jared away from her square meat. Jared Fogle was born in 1977 in Indiana. Despite his father being a doctor, Jared had a propensity for shoveling deep-fried shit down his gullet, resulting in him looking like this. His peak weight was around 425 pounds, or 190 kilos, roughly the weight of a reindeer or wild boar, which is fitting given the number of pig parts that ended up in his stomach. However, this was during the 90s, and unlike today, the fat acceptance movement didn't exist to delude people into believing that having the body fat percentage of an Arctic marine mammal is healthy, or that having a belly that looks like a vagina is sexy. So Jared, to his credit, lost weight. Around 250 pounds or 110 kilos. In fact, simply by exercising and eating Subway sandwiches. Keep in mind, beforehand, he was eating around 10,000 calories a day. 4 times the standard amount an adult male should be eating. Just look at this picture and realize that there is a normal-sized skeleton under that blubber. To his credit, he took responsibility and lost weight by eating Subway sandwiches, as I mentioned before. And by eating Subway sandwiches, I'm not talking about the semi-edible meatball sub with extra cheese, or the steak and cheese with extra cheese topped with some sun chips, because multi-grain fried shit is good for you. I'm referring to the humble turkey sandwich with no mayo and no cheese. Fun fact, eating baked chips oftentimes results in more calories gained as people tend to eat them in larger quantities. Not worth it, since baked chips taste like salted air. Anyway, the plan in this situation did work. This was mentioned in a college newspaper, the Indiana Daily Student. And from then on, he was featured in Men's Health, in an article titled, quote, "Stupid Diets, ... that work." Subway latched on to the opportunity in a way to promote their fast food caloric cold cut menu as a form of superfood like chia seeds or salmon or avocado, just without the vitamins and minerals and with more preservatives. This resulted as him being seen as the everyman in a number of Subway ads. However, for legal reasons, Subway did have to add this disclaimer on their ads. Quote, "The Subway diet, combined with a lot of walking, work for Jared. We're not saying this will work for everyone. You should check with your doctor before starting any diet program. But it worked for Jared."
Hi, I'm Jared the Subway Guy, and this is my story. Young guy eats too much junk food and gains a lot of weight. Guy changes his life by eating at Subway twice a day and walking a lot. Guy loses over 200 pounds and keeps weight off for 17 years. Guy now has 2 kids, and even more reason to pass on better eating habits to young people everywhere. This is my story. Ready to write yours? Subway, eat fresh.
You know full well that there were people who saw this ad and didn't bother to read the disclaimer, who went on to eat foot-long salami sandwiches doused with enough mayo to make your arteries squeal, all the while telling themselves that they were on a fucking diet. Jared's career as a spokesman nonetheless grew, getting hundreds of commercials and even being featured in wrestling tournaments, and even B-movies like Sharknado 2 and 3. This prompted his crusade against obesity with the advent of the Jared Foundation, with the goal of fighting obesity in children. This was at a time when you could fight for a cause like children not dying of diabetes without some feminists calling you fat-phobic. Well, it turned out that Jared wanted kids to be thin. Not so they wouldn't get gallbladder disease, but rather so they could stay fit, to be attractive. Given his age and weight preferences, it was abundantly clear that Jared is not a fan of tits on girls or boys. In 2007, a radio host told the Sarasota, Florida Police Department that Jared made comments about how much he just loved middle school girls. And this was actually at a middle school fitness competition. She took recordings of their conversation, and over the course of 4 years, there has been plenty of, let's just say, Epstein-like comments.
Especially some in the middle school that love the middle school and their girls are starting to get, you know?
Yeah.
Because you know how much I love big, you know, I love you.
Well, no.
What's that?
Well, you know, kids are maturing faster nowadays.
I know, which I love. And that's why I think it's wonderful with you is that you're able to get in early. You know what I mean? You could totally win them over, which is what I love.
You like that?
I do love that.
Will you tell me how to do that?
You know, just talk to them, just get to know them, just everything, and just, you know, do a little touchy-feely things with them, you know, make them feel good. And it's a little more touchy-feely, a little more touchy-feely, a little more touchy-feely. And it's that kind of stuff.
Yeah? Okay.
I think that would be amazing.
What
Totally
age?
amazing.
What age seems to be the easiest?
You know, I don't know. I feel like, you know, early middle school is probably one of the best.
Yeah?
You know, they don't know if they're coming or going. And I could see a young, you know, 6th, 7th grader, you know, this.
Alas, while the recordings were creepy, none of them involved any proof that he committed a crime. That was until one of the big names in his charity, a man by the name of Russell Taylor, was busted during a CP operation. Turned out he was recording kids showering with spy cams, including a boy as young as 6. These videos were being shared with Fogle, as I assume the normal person way of getting off to say MILF porn wasn't of any interest to Jared. Following this, Jared's home was raided by state police, and he was arrested. And it turned out that he had a large amount of cheese pizza stored in his computer and hard drives. And I'm not talking about the CP that tastes similar to the pepperoni, cheese, and marinara sauce subs. Following his arrest, the FBI got a hold of a number of text messages Jared and a Subway franchisee owner, Cindy Mills, had together, a sexual relationship. It is rather strange that he went out of his way to have both a wife and a side chick while looking like this, and he was really just, at the end of the day, interested in 6-year-old thin boys. And people who are usually interested in thin 6-year-old boys usually are not into mature tits. But as you read more into it, it begins to make more sense. In the messages, Fogle talked about sexually abusing children as young as 9. Yeah, we're getting into single-digit territory. He also asked her to arrange for him to have sex with her 16-year-old cousin. Mills' lawyer said that she had alerted the Subway corporate spokesman people about the text messages. Subway responded that he wasn't an actual employee of Subway and therefore it wasn't a violation, even though he was their most well-known employee. And despite the fact that there were texts telling everyone, or at least telling her, where he was going to put his deli meat. Fogle pled guilty to 2 counts, one for cheese pizza and the other one for traveling to engage in certain physical activities with a minor. Fogle had to pay a total of $1.4 million in fees, $100,000 to each victim. Prosecutors agreed to let him out after no more than 12 and a half years. After the plea deal was solidified, Subway cut ties with Jared Fogle, even though Jared Fogle still had a picture of him with that Subway sandwich in his Twitter profile. A fitting punishment for a company that marketed this as food. Supervised visits with his own children would only be allowed with the approval of his ex-wife. Fogle really wanted to visit his two children, but his ex-wife just didn't really agree to it, as this guy isn't the sort of person you want around your kids.
Some of them, so that, I don't know, I like to...
Yeah, especially some in the middle school that love the middle school when their girls are starting to get, you know?
Yeah.
Because you know how much I love.
This prompted several people online to repeat an overused joke about him getting a quote-unquote footlong in prison. Or at the very least, a 6-inch turkey sandwich without cheese, but this time, with extra mayo. Although there was this one overused joke that was actually pretty good, quote-unquote, he ate too fresh. To my knowledge, he didn't get any unwanted meat or mayonnaise in prison, but he did get his ass kicked by another inmate, resulting in him getting a swollen face. Like, just imagine these guys watching this guy enter the prison cell for the first time. Upon release from prison, Fogle will be required to be on the sex offender registry for the rest of his life, which will last substantially longer since he no longer looks like this. And there lies a tale of the second most disturbing and disgusting chapter in the history of the establishment known as Subway. The second most disgusting chapter in Subway history, because nothing can get more disgusting than their tuna sandwich.